What's up, YouTube? This ain't gonna be no friendly video. Might want to put the kids to bed. Might want to shut the doors. It's about to get heated in here. Raw last night on the Go Home Show, December 14th, 2020, did its lowest viewership in the history of viewership since Raw's been on the air since 1993. Did a 1.5 last night. 1.5. 1.5 million people watched last night. That's terrible. AEW just last week did 996,000 and only been on air for what 14 months? 14 months? 1.5. There's no reason why Raw should have so low of a viewership, bro. You have AJ Styles, you have Drew McIntyre, you have Randy Orton, you have Miz, who's been around for 15 years, you have Asuka, you have all these stars, and the stars now that's not being utilized correctly. Look at Retribution. Retribution has, the story is good. They have a decent lead in Ali. It makes sense, but they lose. They talk a big game, but they lose a lot. Another person, for example. Now you can say, oh, Raw, the pandemic, or the Monday Night Football game last night, Browns and Ravens, one of the best Monday Night Football games ever. But no, this has been a downward trend for years. It was from 10 million. They were getting 10 million viewers in the Attitude Era, and now as the years went down, went 8 million, 7 million, 5 million, 4 million, 3 million, 2 million, now we're at 1 million. This time next year, are we going to be in the thousands? Are we going to be in the 800,000, 900,000s? Really? You can't tell me, pandemic, all this stuff like that, there's no fans. Okay, cool. But why is AEW increasing their viewership? They were at 600,000, 700,000. Now they're in 800, 900,000. Pretty soon, this time next year, they're probably going to be in the millions. Probably going to be in the million, along with Raw. What's the problem? 1.5? 1.5? Drew McIntyre is a great champion. He's an amazing champion, right? You can't put it all on him. You can't put viewership all on one man. Does he deserve blame? Sure, he deserves just a little bit of blame, but it's the product as a whole. It's Raw as a whole. There's not really, they don't have, guys like Matt Riddle, who I'm not even a fan of Matt Riddle. You got Sheamus, who's really not prime Sheamus anymore. You got, you got the Fiend. You got the Fiend, but he's not really, established. He's been around for about a year now. It's not really that established. But Raw going 1.5 million. We need Becky back. You need Charlotte back. But are they really going to move the needle, though? Are they really going to move the needle? Raw's been atrocious lately. The same old matches, same old storylines, same regurgitated BS that we've seen. And it's 50-50 booking. A lot of people, for example, look at guys like Ricochet. Win 2 weeks, lose the next week. Wins 2 weeks, lose the next 3 weeks. It happens to nobody can look strong. The only person that's consistently looked strong for the past 5 years as a top dog, champion, whatever, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is the only consistent, strongly booked superstar in the main roster. Him, Roman Reigns, those are two. I don't get it. The viewership is declining. Now it was 1.5, so it wouldn't be. This time next year, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 950,000, 980,000. You give or take, because the product is terrible right now. The product is freaking terrible. This is not the product that I grew up loving, watching, being passionate for. This is not the same product, yo. Do they got some people I like? Yeah, sure. You got the Drew McIntyres, you got your AJ Styles, you got your Randy Ortons, Roman Reigns, you got, Asuka, you got your Beckys. But there's no. Who on Raw do you really want to see? Lana's getting a lot more TV time. I don't find Lana entertaining. She's trying her best. I see she's trying her best to give her props, give her respect, all due respect, but she just doesn't do it for me. Beautiful woman. But she's not entertaining to me. Her beating Nia Jax last night wasn't realistic to me. It wasn't exciting to get me, get me excited for next week. Her getting put into tables, 6-9 weeks in a row, isn't really doing that for me. Last night, the go home show with TLC last pay-per-view of 2020. The card looks pretty decent. You got two big matches. You got your Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns TLC match. Drew and AJ. They had a good closing segment last night. Miz Morrison and AJ all teaming up against Drew. Drew's gonna have to overcome the odds this Sunday, but other than that, I mean, you got Randy and The Fiend. They're just getting started on their feud. And they got some Raw's really noteworthy. Asuka needs a partner. Lana's going to be out. Austin needs a partner this Sunday. Who's it going to be? Melina? Charlotte? Eva Marie? Eva Marie signed a contract. She's waiting to get signed to brand. Is she going to move the needle? Is Charlotte going to move the needle? Melina going to move the needle? Eva Marie going to move the needle? It all comes down to booking, presentation, making all your superstars look like stars. They can be called superstars all they want, but are they really portrayed as superstars? Are they booked like superstars? Is Ali booked like a superstar? Matt Riddle, why are you kind of Riddle? That's another thing. Why are you always changing somebody's name? Apollo Crews, Matt Riddle, why are you changing their names? Yeah, a guy like Keith Lee. Keith Lee, a lot of people like Keith Lee. I can see why people like Keith Lee. I'm not a huge fan of Keith Lee. I respect his work. But him being sent back down to the Performance Center to work on his craft a little bit more, Vince doesn't seem to be high on him. He loses last night to Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison hasn't been clicking this year. They've been together for almost since Morrison been back, January. They haven't really been, they've been funny here and there, but they're not the Mr. Morrison from 07, 08. Not the same Mr. Morrison. And he loses to them last night. No matter if it was clean, it doesn't matter. He lost. Keith Lee lost. I mean, so what? Raw's terrible, point blank. Raw is it's bad. It's bad. It's bad, and I'm not gonna give up because I love the business. I love wrestling. I love the business. I love keeping up with the storylines. I just love it. It's my passion. I'm not gonna give up on it, but they need a major revamp. They need to have a big. Vince needs to hold a big meeting. He needs to make some drastic changes about no matter what it is, because he can't not be going the same pace, the same rate, the same way he's going right now and expect for things to get better. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting a different outcome. What is going on right now? What is WWE doing right now? What is WWE Raw doing right now? What do y'all think? This was the go home show. 1.5. Think about it. 1.5 million. 1.5. I remember Raw this time last year was doing what? What was it doing? Like 2? It was like 2 million. Now we're at 1.5 million. I don't care about no football game on last night. I don't care about pandemic, all this stuff. No. The product isn't good. There's no real, true stars. Stars, household names. Maybe Roman. There's only maybe 2 full-timers that are household names. I give it 3. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. Randy Orton, he's been in the business 18 years. Who doesn't know who Randy Orton is? I mean, come on, who doesn't know Randy Orton? Drew McIntyre, current WWE champion, hottest thing going. Roman Reigns, mainstream, movies with The Rock, Hobbs and Shaw, all these Netflix movies. He's getting his name out there, household names. 3 household names I can think of. Full-time stars. 1.5 million. 1.5 million. Let's get made. Hey, I'm out, yo.